It was early June of the year 2020 when majestic white pine and white oak trees were cut and those logs brought to a sawmill. This wood was then stickered at the Wooden Boat Experience to later become a boat. Sorry about that. I'm just messing with you. Welcome to the Wooden Boat Experience. My earliest memory is riding in my grandfather's boat. Arm over the side, hand in the spray. I've spent much of the rest of my life chasing this feeling. All of that has led to this. The Wooden Boat Experience. I've been looking at books, boat building books, and looking for old movies, just trying to get back towards the roots of what we might call modern boat building. The truth is that while there is a lot of information on the internet, some of the best sources can be quite old-fashioned. Imagine you are a young boy in a small town back in 1892, and this dictionary, 24 volumes, shows up in your library, and you want to know about boats and ships. It's amazing what is in this dictionary. Let's look up keel. And there's a whole diagram and a whole bunch of other terms for you to look up. And you say, limber, what's limber? And you turn back in the same volume. And you can find out what that is. All part of the journey of building this skiff. The white oak's been sitting for months now. Time to get it into rough dimension and make sure that it's wet enough for steam bending. Turned into more of an adventure than I imagined. And you thought I wasn't going back in the river this year. Where did those ribs come from, you might ask? I know I'm going to need 47 ribs, and obviously they're not all going to bend well, so I need a lot more than 47 raw pieces. The ribs are all the same, 5/16 by 5/8, but I'm going to just dimensionally cut them rough now, a little bit bigger each way, so I can run them through the planer later on. They also don't all need to be the same length. At the ends, at the bow and the stern, they can be shorter because they're not as long because they're not going as far across. So if a board has a bad spot, it doesn't mean it doesn't have a use. So this is pretty good looking stuff through here. Nice and straight grained. But it gets real funky right in here. Right where this knot is, coincidentally. I may be able to use this part for something, but probably is this width. So no sense in wasting all that. So I'm going to cut this off and then rip the rest of these pieces down. So what we ended up with is these three, which are 55 inches long, which is long enough to make ribs at either end where it's very narrow. Now this one's no good because you can see this is the sapwood and this is the kind of wood we want. So the sapwood, because this was right on the edge of the board, pretty much is in this whole board. On this side, you see it just barely comes in, but this one you do not want to use. Good for firewood. I tied all these white oak ribs into a bundle. Now I did have one knee on the dock, and this water is only about 2 feet deep. But as you can see, whoops. It wasn't as cold as I thought. Next time, I'm bringing an axe. you got balls all over in here. Whew, I am way behind on putting this stuff up on the transom wall. So I'm going to do that and then say a few thank yous. Here's Charlie's Lyman offshore. It's kind of an unusual one to see up here. Also, John down in the Finger Lakes sent me a few pictures of his boats. Got a Riviera and Lyman there. And also a card from the Antique Boat Museum. We all love them. Let's put these up. Wow, so many thank yous. Hey, Howard and Cheryl, look at, I'm wearing your shirt. Whirlwind. Check out, I'm going to put their thing down at the bottom of the screen. Check those guys out. They got a lot of boats and they've done a lot of boating. But I had to write the thank yous down. There's so many. I didn't want to forget anybody. Wesley, John, Charlie, Norm, Howard and Cheryl, Chuck, Larry, Jared, anybody that bought on Bonfire, and everybody that's buying that has been buying on GlassGoat. All the pictures and the letters and just all the support, the shares, the likes, the subscribing. The Wooden Boat Experience is doing as good as I could have ever hoped. And I just thank you guys, because without you guys, why would I be doing it? I'd just be doing this and I wouldn't be filming. But I wouldn't be doing it as fast. So it is good that you guys keep me moving. Well, look what came today. It's flexible sander, which I ordered from Amazon. Now I've had this roll of 120 grit paper around for quite a while. To what end, I don't know. It's just been sitting here, but it's going to be perfect for this, I think. So we got it to length. Out of the way. And looks like in half will be perfect for width. I'll have to order some other pieces, some other grits. Definitely need to make one of those sandpaper tearing apparatuses. Hacksaw blade works well usually, but this is longer than a hacksaw blade, so I think I've got some long stainless steel rulers in the art studio. I like that. Success. As far as the random orbital sander, I haven't decided which one to buy yet. Either the Fine, the Festool, or the Bosch. It's not just price. Man, it's a lot of things. When you check the reviews, it's all over the place. They all say they're good, but some people like one better than the other, and I haven't decided yet. So I'm still working on that, but that's what the tool campaign was for, and that is going to happen. I don't want to make the wrong decision on this one, because I only want to buy one of them. So there's one of the goats just did something over there. So that's the story on that. And now I'm going to put some fairing compound on. Getting close. And I think this week it's time for another big push. Going to have to use some heat in here to get the temperatures up, but that's what I'm going to have to do, because this has got to get done. So that's the goal for next week. I'm trying to plan the new studio skiff house area. This is 1 inch to a foot scale using interior measurements. We're looking down on the building as if we were a giant standing in front of it. Some of this stuff is existing, like that workbench, although the wood stove is turned 90 degrees from where it was and the kiln is moved over a little bit. Most of the stuff in the studio is as it is right now. Mostly I'm worried about is how is this skiff going to fit into that area without removing the whole wall at the end of the old gallery where the new addition is. And come to find out, it fits pretty well. So you can see there's a 6-foot opening between the addition and the old gallery, and 8 feet between the studio addition and the addition. The red areas show if we want to block it off to keep the heat into that center L. I think it's going to work out pretty well. I did this in Illustrator, which is a pretty effective program for this because it allows you to create rectangles to scale pretty quickly. It's definitely not an architectural program, but for this purpose it worked pretty well.